hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, welcome on in 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hans and Scotty, happy Monday, everybody. How are you?
I'm amazing.
Yeah?
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Man, it's great to see you. It's great to see you, Lloyd. How are you, Lloyd?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
See, everybody's in a good mood today.
We're all in a good mood, man. It's a good mood day. Hey, Lloyd, I thought you were going to try a new intro.
I'll try it tomorrow.
Oh, we got a new song?
Lloyd,
I found one that I wanted to maybe try.
Lloyd threw one at me while I was out in Pittsburgh, and he's like, what do you think? I was like, well, I don't like it as much as the one I suggested.
Wow.
But
thanks for sending that over to me, Lloyd. I appreciate that.
I thought you were on that text, were you not? If you weren't, I apologize.
I thought you were.
Yeah, maybe I was.
I thought it was a three-way
Shoot,
text.
I should probably.
I thought it was too.
I should probably check that before I.
But sometimes I do miss those. So I'm not saying I thought it was, though.
Do you want to try it or no? Try tomorrow?
No, I'm not on any text here.
I will send it because I want your opinion on it as well.
Okay, good.
I just assumed you were ignoring me as usual.
Oh, really? You wonder why I ignore you after the exchange we had yesterday.
Wait, what did I do yesterday?
Just being a dink. You're just trying to be funny.
I'm glad you put the in.
And so-
I promise you I was not trying to be
And
funny.
so I'm just like, all right, I see what you're doing here, and I'm
and then
done.
I didn't even know what that emoji meant. You sent me an emoji, and I'm like, I have no idea what, I don't know what that means.
So I texted you, and you promptly responded to me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I said, do you have Mike Sanford's number?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to talk. They were doing this really cool little broadcast thing in Denver for a pregame, and I'm like, wow, we can really kind of steal that and implement that and maybe look at doing that for next year for our pre- and post-game shows for BYU and Utah.
Okay.
And so the station he's working at just did a really cool, phenomenal job with the video cast and stuff. And so anyway, I texted Lloyd, same thing. Do you have Mike Sanford's number? About 45 minutes later, I get a text. Yes.
You asked if I had his number.
You know what I meant. You know.
The thing is, you asked me last week if I had Mike Sanford's
Yeah,
number, so I'm
and-
assuming you just keep on asking.
And oh no, I asked you, could you book Mike Sanford? And you did, which I appreciate.
How was he?
He was awesome. He was just incredible.
Did you guys recap the season?
It was mostly previewing NFL games.
Oh, okay.
And then also
So he's in the
recapping.
NFL stuff now.
Oh yeah, he does
I
a
thought
lot.
he
He
was
does a
gonna stay.
lot of Broncos stuff.
Oh, okay.
They're in Denver now. And so Lloyd says yes, and so I just send him that emoji of that straight-faced guy.
I had
just
to Google, and it says there could be lots of meanings behind this emoji. And I was like, I don't know.
And again, you know what I meant.
You know exactly what the emoji
And then so
meant.
I'm like, all right, we're done here. And then it was like, well, do you want me to send you the number? And I'm like, okay, we're done. I'm not even like, when I text you, do you have somebody's number? That's what I meant. Because Hans was like, boom, here it is.
I was strangely.
Here you go. Screenshot.
No, sent me the contact and everything.
You know what? That's a surprise. Wow.
Oh, hold on.
How amazing
I'll
is
give you
that?
the backstory on that. But I was strangely in the air over Colorado.
Oh, wow, you did it?
Yes.
On a plane,
On
too.
a plane.
Wow.
It hit me. I buzzed it, and I was like, my phone never buzzes. I don't ever get texts or anything while I'm on a flight. And it buzzed, and I'm like, oh. So I quickly send it over to you. And no, I didn't share contact, and I didn't do a screen grab because I actually just copy and pasted the number.
Yes. Yep.
I just copy and pasted the number.
Wow, how about that?
So
That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's a little bit more advanced than a screen grab, but not a ton. But
Quite a bit.
If you'd prefer that, I can do that.
I would love it.
Okay,
That would be great.
We'll start doing that. That's fine.
Yeah, it was great.
Speaking
So anyway, I
of,
appreciate that.
speaking of the Broncos, this is one of the worst wild card weekends I've ever watched.
Oh man, thankfully the Commanders saved it a little bit last night with a fun game.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was just a big pile of dog. You know what?
It was really bad.
Yeah.
Last night was good, but for the most part, it was really bad. Just got back from Pittsburgh, and a couple of thoughts. The Penguins do a great job. I was expecting to go in to watch a Penguins game and expecting to have like all these bells and whistles, these different things that lead to different chants and crowd being unified and constantly angry. And I probably got a little bit of a tweak of an experience because they were down 5-0 in the first period in like 2 minutes, period in 3 minutes.
Wow.
Down 5-0, like instantly. Ottawa wiped the ice with them. Made them look bad. To the point where, and I don't know how common this is, they pulled the goalie out of the net. Pittsburgh was like, hey, and they made a whole big deal of it. Like, they stopped play, and this big old goalie with all his pads comes slowly skating out of the net, and then another goalie jumps on the ice with all his pads, and they cross paths, and the whole place is cheering because
they're pulling the guy. It's like when the quarterback throws 3 interceptions and they finally bring the backup in, and they're like, yeah, finally.
Guy gave up 5 quick ones.
Wow.
And Ottawa's not good. Ottawa's they're a non-playoff team.
Yeah.
Or borderline. I actually think that they're kind of on the same level as far as wins and losses, maybe close to what Utah Hockey Club is, but beat the tar out of them. And I was thinking the whole time, like, they're going to have these unified chants. No. It's, you and I and Lloyd, we've had some opportunities to be over here at the Utah Hockey Club, and it's not much more organized than what we saw there.
Wow, really?
No, it's about the same. They've got a couple things, and I guess the Utah Hockey Club, we've got a couple of new chants, the Utah.
Yeah.
That's going on, and there's a couple of new things that are organically coming together, but a couple of things that were great. 15 minutes before the puck drops, everybody's in there.
Yeah.
It's
no late arrivals there.
It's jam-packed. So people get early. They get in there early. And I don't know. I've only been to a couple of the Utah Hockey Club games, and nobody's done this yet, but they won't allow you into the aisles until play is stopped.
Really?
No. They won't allow you into the aisles until play is stopped. So if you're headed to your seat, you have to stay in the concourse until play is stopped, and then you're allowed to get to your seat quickly, which we did not do quick enough, and my wife and I were told by many of the crowd to sit the bleep down that we're in the bleeping way.
Wow.
And, I'm turning around like, I'll fight y'all. But it was like 25 people. It was like, I'll sit down.
All fine. Thanks for the suggestion.
But they're serious about when they pay for a seat not having it obstructed. And every seat is pretty sweet. I sat in about 5 different areas just out of interest to take a look at what the different perspectives were.
In an arena that's built for hockey.
Yeah. In an arena that's built for hockey. Every one of them is amazing.
Yeah.
And we were like 2 rows up on the very second level. So just 2 rows up, second level. And it could not have been a more ideal vantage point. It was idyllic. Perfect for the full vision of the ice and all the movement and all the action. And I was shocked. And guess what? So I actually didn't call in a favor on this one. I did buy these tickets. 2 tickets, perfect vantage point, second row on upper deck, which it's not like you're watching ants. Like the way they've got that deck is kind of over the top of the ice, and you feel like you're really close to the ice.
Interesting.
So guess how much for those 2 seats? I bought it day before.
Okay.
So the game was Saturday. I bought it Friday night.
It's a Saturday game. You bought it Friday night.
Bought it off one of those ticket providers.
Yeah, secondary market.
That adds almost
tons of fees.
Double in fees.
I hate that stuff.
But 2 seats.
I'm gonna go. And you're the second deck, right?
Second deck, 2 rows in.
I'm gonna go 130 each, 260 total.
Okay, that's exactly what I would have guessed. That's where I would have put it. It was 112 total.
Really? Wow.
112 total. It was $35 per ticket, and then they had their fees and adjustments. That to get to that game.
That's not bad at all.
No, it wasn't bad at all. I was wildly impressed and shocked, and it was a great vantage point and very affordable. Just for a night that's like, hey, let's go have fun at a game.
Well, and I'm curious because I've not checked. The day before a game, what's that secondary market look like for a Utah hockey game, our hockey club?
I haven't seen it either.
I need to look at that because, I've started to realize, Brody and I, my 13-year-old, we went to that Broncos game, and I bought tickets a couple weeks ahead of time and paid quite a bit for them. And then, but then I was checking the secondary market like the day of the game, and boy, they just plummeted. And I'm like, eesh. So I think, if I go to another game, I'm going to be checking that secondary market
the day before.
and seeing, okay, because there's people that are desperate. Like, I got to move these tickets.
Yeah.
I got to get rid of them.
And they'll drop them.
Chances are you'll get them, but that was always that worry. Like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a trip. I don't want to. And if we get there and we don't have the tickets,
Yeah.
be a little stressful.
Yeah, so you always want to secure them. I think the biggest takeaway for me with all of Pittsburgh and what I was able to see and do. So I was in the Fairfield Inn, which is right there by the confluence. And it took us 12 minutes from our hotel, from the Fairfield, to walk to the PPG Paint Arena, I believe is what they call the Penguins Arena.
Okay.
PPG Paint Arena. So it's a 12-minute walk.
That's not bad at all.
No. Now, it was 10 degrees, but we bundled up, and it was just a beautiful, quick walk through the city, and it's a great walk. It's a 15-minute walk to what used to be Heinz Stadium. I don't know what they call it now, but
Yeah.
To where the Pittsburgh Steelers play. And then it's a 20-minute walk to
P&G.
P&G.
Yeah, the baseball.
Or PNC Park.
PNC. Yeah, you're right.
PNC
Yeah.
Park.
Yep.
It's like a 20-minute walk. All three of those sports venues are a walkable distance. So we didn't have to Uber. We didn't have to drive and park. We didn't have to do any of that. It's all downtown.
I love it.
And, it was 10, 12 degrees. Downtown was flooded with people. Their stocking caps on and big coats and all kinds of bustle and
Liquored up.
And I thought to myself, we could be that downtown.
Yes. Yep.
Salt Lake City could absolutely be that. And what's nice is you could catch a Jazz game and a hockey game in back-to-back nights on a quick trip into Salt Lake City. So you grab a little Utah hockey, grab Utah Jazz. You're really close to the Temple, to the Conference Center, to all of our historical sites and within walking distance. So I kind of see why Ryan Smith has this vision of wanting to rebuild our downtown, to make it a true sports and entertainment focal point of our state. Because if he starts stretching it out to 106 South, Scotty,
Yeah.
it waters down what it can be when it's concentrated in this kind of intense sports environment like Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh has it dialed in.
Yeah.
And then I tweeted this out. Pirates, Steelers, and Penguins all with similar colors, and they do mix and match. I was thinking, I don't want the Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club to have any similarities. I want them to be their own entities. But then when I was watching these Pittsburghians, or whatever they call them, Pittsburghites.
I like Pittsburghians.
Pittsburghians.
Yeah.
None of them were loaded with like all Penguins. It was like a Penguins top, a Steelers hat, Penguins gloves, or maybe a Steelers gloves,
But it all worked because it's all black and gold.
a Pirates scarf,
Yeah.
but it all worked because it's so they can support every one of their teams
Yeah.
with their outfit and kind of be all Pittsburgh all the time, and it kind of fits. But I do think that you'll be able to do that with the Jazz and the Hockey Club because the Jazz have some of that powdered blue
Yeah.
look.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing with the rebrand coming up with the hockey club. I got to imagine they're keeping some of those colors.
They got to.
Yeah,
I think the black and blue is beautiful.
I do too.
The white, black, and blue, I think, is a really slick look.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh is recognizable based off of those colors.
Oh, yeah. You see those colors, you immediately think of Pittsburgh.
Well, I kind of wouldn't mind having colors that when you see it, sports colors, when you see it, you think, oh, that's Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
That's Jazz. That's Hockey Club. I wouldn't mind that so much after seeing it and just seeing how people in Pittsburgh embrace it. Like, they love their sports culture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't mess around.
Oh, they love that sports culture.
And, I've been there a couple times, and it's just a really fun vibe in that downtown area.
It's great.
And it's a lot like, so you think of Pittsburgh, and you think of Indianapolis, and you think of some of these other cities that we've been to lately that we talk about, and how they've designed their downtown. They realize, like, nobody is sitting around thinking to themselves, you know what, I would love a trip to Pittsburgh, or I'd love a trip to Indianapolis. Nobody puts that top of mind in terms of destination locations. So what they've done is saying, okay, well, what can we appeal to people in? Sports. And Indianapolis has done a tremendous job. Pittsburgh has done a tremendous job. Atlanta, now people do want to go to Atlanta because it's got mostly good weather but with I think it's called Battery Park or something, whatever they've done down there in that area. But they want to bring everything into one centralized area with great businesses, great food, great hotel stays, and convention areas in supplementing their sports scene. So people can go to a sports game. Then, you can go for your work convention. You can go grab a great bite to eat, and then you can go check out one of whoever's playing and be like, hey, the Steelers are playing, or hey, the Pirates are playing. Let's go catch a game.
Yeah.
And make it easy to do all of that. And they just kind of feed off of each other. And that's what hopefully we'll have here in Salt Lake. Now, the Power District's a little bit of ways away from downtown, but
not walkable.
Not necessarily walkable, but certainly public transit.
But jump on the tram and you're there in 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, easy.
I do think that Power District, if rebuilt and putting a river walk that maybe somehow connects downtown and connects the transit to the river walk and have a couple really nice places in between, I think that it would make it really flow to have our Major League Baseball park right next to our NHL and NBA. And then, I just think that the NFL is, I'm not saying it's a complete impossibility, but I don't think it's within 10 years of this state.
No, I don't either.
Which is sad because those NFL stadiums are, they're the game changer. They're the absolute game changer. It does something to a city that you just can't replicate. And there's a lot of Penguins gear and there's a lot of Pirates gear and there's a lot of gear around town, but it's all based in Steelers.
But let's be honest, it's Steelers.
Every place I went into had Steelers logos and Steelers stuff, and I know that the playoff game was that Sunday night, or was that Saturday night?
Saturday.
It was that Saturday night of the Penguins game, and so
that may have hurt your Penguins situation too in terms of
it might have
the buzz.
It might have, although it was sold out.
Oh, okay.
The place was jam packed and sold out, and it started at 4:00, and the game started at 8:00 out there. Which the games in Eastern Time Zone? What are they doing out there? How are they even watching?
I don't know how they do it. And we would always kind of bang on voters and stuff and say, like, how you if you're a voter, it's your responsibility to watch these games, blah, blah, blah. And then you go out there and you try to watch a game, like a West Coast game. The Utes were playing a game, and I was back east, and it was like all of a sudden it gets midnight, 12:30, and you're only into the third quarter, and you're like, I can't do this.
Yes,
I can't do it.
Yeah, you're done. By 10:30 or 11 now, you're kind of batting your eyes like, what?
Yeah.
They watch games late there.
Oof.
That Steelers game kicked at 8:00 out there.
Oh, my gosh.
And we're just sitting there, you're a quarter and a half in, and you're 9:30, 9:45, getting close to 10. And it's just kind of crazy, man. I don't know how they do the whole sporting environment out there, but Pittsburgh's got it dialed in. And I love the vision that Ryan Smith has for our downtown. I know it's putting a little bit on some sales tax, and I know that the residents carry a bit of the burden, but I think that the rebuild on this stadium, I cannot wait for the imaging of it, just to see what it's gonna be when he's got this thing all dialed in and rebuilt. It's going to be beautiful. I also stopped by the Pittsburgh practice facility, and I saw where Ryan is putting the practice facility. You've seen he's ripped half the mall off on the back end half of the mall off 106 South. So he's got those 2 full ice rinks going out there and practice facilities. And I know that they've got a vision of allowing the public to come in and see the ice and
get on the ice, too.
So a lot of cool things happening. The more we can be a sports town, the better, Scotty.
I love it. Absolutely.
And you know that. I mean, you've been to enough Broncos games, and how do they do downtown?
Doesn't have that vibe because the Broncos Stadium isn't necessarily downtown, but the NBA arena is. And so they do not have that kind of centralized location that some of these other places do, where they're all kind of feed off each other. Bronco Stadium's not necessarily by the basketball arena. And frankly, I don't even think I've been into that basketball arena before. And I've not been to Coors either, if it's still Coors Field. Man, we gotta check that off the bucket list.
Where the Rockies are?
Yeah. Go to a Rockies game.
I haven't been there either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the three of us need to take a little summer trip.
Road trip.
Go catch a Rockies game.
Let's do it. Hands and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Joined now by Ken Pomeroy, owner of KenPom.com.
For the Cougars, a lot of hype around the program. A very disappointing loss to Tech the other night at home. What do you think that they need as far as a record in conference to get in?
The Big 12 obviously presents a lot of opportunities for quality wins. That said, the performance on the road of BYU historically in the Big 12 so far has not been great. Their calling card really should be getting wins at home, and that's why, in particular, the Texas Tech game was disappointing. I'd say right now, to answer your question, it's probably 11-9 to feel safe. I mean, I got them projected 10-10. The Big 12 is not as strong as it was last year. Last year, you go 500 in the league, and it's a done deal. It's not the case this year, and that loss to Providence in particular is pretty damaging. I'd say the goal probably has to be 11-9, and you might sneak in at 10-10.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Number one.
Miss any part of the show? Every moment of every show is available in podcast form by searching Hanson Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
A lot on the line here for Utah State. Allen waiting for somebody to clear. Akana was open. Instead, they give it to Martinez. Straight away three. No good. No, wait. Yes! He hit it, and he's fouled. Oh, another rim forever. Whoa! Ian Martinez hits the three. It bounced 6 times on the rim before finally falling through, and he has the free throw. Whoa! Wow! Unfreaking believable. That one got off the rails a little bit. What the hell just happened?
When it hit and went straight up, and you said, no good.
No, because it not only went straight up, it came out a little bit.
Yeah,
and
it went high.
Yeah. Thought there's no way that's going in.
5 feet up?
Easily.
Yeah. Off the rim. It was a big bounce. You had a busy weekend too, buddy.
Oh, jeez.
Was that pretty exhausting?
That was, and, it looked like Boise State was going to run away and hide. They could not miss. And this was not a good three-point shooting team coming into the game. And they start the game 5 for 5 from three. And early in the second half, I want to say they're 11 of 13 from three. They're just knocking down everything. And finally, you knew they were going to slow down a little bit. But they're up by 13, so you're thinking,
Doesn't matter now.
Doesn't matter. Even if they slow down, 13's a big number to come back from in the second half. And Utah State just kept whittling away. But Utah State was phenomenal offensively in the second half. They shot 80% from the field in the second half and got some critical stops. Kid missed 2 free throws for Boise State down the stretch, and the Aggies were able to come back and down 2, though. And Ian Martinez hits that shot, gets the end one. So they go from being down 2 to up 2 on the old-fashioned 4-point play. Boise State doesn't call a timeout. They run a set for Cardenas to take a 3 to win it. He can't get it. And Utah State now 16-1 on the season. And the new polls came out, and they are ranked 22nd in both the AP and the coaches.
Keep climbing.
Climbing.
That's incredible. And now they got UNLV.
Now they got UNLV. We'll be in Vegas. I'll doing the show from there on Wednesday.
How good's UNLV right now?
Okay, they're classic UNLV, loaded with talent, under not living up to their expectations, and really good at home.
And that's in Vegas.
So it's in Vegas. They're 8-1 in the Thomas and Mack.
Would that be a quad 1?
No, I think I don't think it'll be
borderline on the road.
No, I don't think so because UNLV's only 9-7 on the season.
Okay.
So UNLV again, if you get on them early, they usually fall apart. But if you let them hang around and they get hot, then they can blow you out of the building. because they're loaded with talent. It's just a stereotypical UNLV team. Great talent, but not great maturity and a little volatile to where if you rattle their cage, they'll fall apart.
I know the spectrum is the spectrum, and I know it's got a name, and I know that it's got a reputation. For those of you that don't know what the spectrum is, it's the name of the arena that Utah State Aggies play in, and it's pretty notorious for being crazy. Does it feel like it's at a next level? Lloyd and I are going to get up there for a game this year. We got up for one last year. It was crazy. Came up for the Boise State game, I think it was last year, maybe about the time or a little bit later. And it was crazy. Is it next level, or is it hitting about where Lloyd and I were?
It's that game. Imagine that game, because you went to what was a really good game last year, and the crowd was really nuts and all kinds of fired up, but it was a blowout, right? I think Utah State won that game by 20, like 80-61 or something like that.
Thumped them good.
So imagine that atmosphere, but a game that was going right down to the wire. So loud, craziness. It was amped up even more based on how the game was going. So, yeah, it was a little bit more intense than what we saw last year.
Are the students still wearing the rubber gloves?
Yeah, still. Now more are wearing the blue gloves.
Even more have the blue gloves.
Because they feel like apparently that makes their clapping louder.
Well, it does. That's the one thing that stood out to me. They're all wearing surgeon's gloves clapping, and it's a higher pitched, more recognizable clap, which I've never seen.
I've never seen anybody else do it, and I don't know if there's science behind it, but it sure seems like it works.
Well, is there any way, could Utah State ever get that level of attention and excitement for their football team? When they made the run to the Mountain West Conference Championship.
It was hopping.
What year was that?
That was 21.
2021?
Yeah. And the student section was great. It's just, that arena kind of hits the sweet spot in terms of selling it out within the community. Utah State, their football stadium look, if you're going to be playing Pac-12, if you want to be considered in that, maybe not the upper tier of college football, but that mid-tier, you got to have a stadium that fits 30,000. And right now they list that at 25. But you've got to, whether you recount the seats or whether you fill in the corners or you do whatever, you've got to have a stadium that you say capacity is over 30,000. You just have to. Having that 2 instead of a 3 in front of your capacity just doesn't look good. I think it's a bad look.
You're absolutely right.
And so, but the problem is there'll be some games, Boise State, BYU, where they'll get that thing darn near filled up. But you need that thing filled up when it's San Jose State, when it's UNLV, when it's Fresno. You still need that thing pushing a near sellout. And they just can't seem to get there game in and game out for football.
Okay, so if it's the Pac-12 and your home schedule has Washington State, Boise State, Fresno State, and then, maybe you're able to pick up one group of 5 non-conference home game that's pretty recognizable. Maybe you're starting to tread into water where Cache Valleyites, I hate to use these, but people in Loginians, they'll show up. That's a pretty good home schedule.
It is. It's a great home schedule. It was funny. Somebody was talking to me the other day about Jared Calhoun, and they were saying, well, what are we going to do to keep Calhoun? And what are we going to do to keep Mason Falls alive? I'm like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Yeah, because it's now put in the hands of the fans.
Because now it's in the hands of the boosters, and you hate saying it like that.
I know.
Because it's not particularly fair, but here's the thing. It's on you. You have to donate to the collective. You'd have to donate to the school. You have to go buy the tickets. You have to put that influx of cash into that university so that they can keep coaches. They can keep players.
Yep.
Now, look, you're of Cache Valley. You have Cache Valley blood coursing through your veins. You're one of the most frugal people I know, and that's a strong theme in Cache Valley. Yeah. A dollar is not easily parted with.
Stronger there than in Utah County and Salt Lake County, in my opinion.
Utah County gets a bad rap for being overly frugal. I think you take it and times it by 2.
That's how I feel.
In Cache Valley.
It's tight.
Those guys are tight. They've lived through some things. You've got a lot of deep-rooted insecurities about financial situations.
Well, and it's hard to make money there.
Yes, that's true.
Cache County is not a cash-flowing Now, it's got Cash in its name.
Yeah.
Only spelt different. Yeah. And it's really tough to turn a dollar there.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I don't have a house there. I can't make that drive here downtown, and I can't exactly make a living in Cash. Never have been able to.
No.
My brother just moved there, and he just took the head orchestra job at Logan High. And he's a little bit more established and just bought a really nice house in Bountiful Heights. Bountiful Heights?
Fruit Heights?
Fruit Heights.
Fruit Heights, okay.
In Fruit Heights or River Heights.
Oh, it could be River Heights.
River Heights.
Yeah.
And you know, he has to be well established, and he's got to be the head courser. I mean, he's got one of the best jobs in the high school circuits there. And his wife has an amazing job. And they, by the way, they just moved there. This is their first school season there, and he's loving Logan High School. But it's just tough to turn a buck in Logan, so people don't want to spend it. But this goes to the point that I brought up about a month and a half or 2 months ago, because this was when I was rumoring that I expect BYU to really be getting into the money game.
Mm-hmm.
What this has done is it has forced fan bases to now be competitive with their money. Because there's very wealthy fan bases and there's fan bases that don't have as much money. But what this has done is it's made you a competitive fan base. And we all know that BYU has an insanely competitive fan base. And now they can get into the actual wins and losses. You know, there's a good handful of people right now in Provo that when BYU puts things together, let's say they have a 2025 football season that's like really good.
Yeah.
There's a few people in Provo that could be like, I did that.
Yep.
I won those games. I did that. That's my money. And now I don't know if they're going to be in people's face and boisterous about it, but to Scotty's point, he just brought it up. Oh, you like Coach Calhoun? Oh, you want to keep him? Not that it seems that to really matter who's coaching at Utah State. They win.
Yeah.
But that's what you want. Well, you can make that whole world happen.
Yes.
All you got to do is fork out the cash. And Calhoun, you could have a major university out east offer Calhoun, and Utah State be like, what are you making? X amount. Okay, tack $500,000 more per year and extend 1 year.
Yep. And he's like, all right, we're good.
Oh. Yeah, because in the world of college basketball, it's about getting to the tournament.
Yes.
And then having a competitive team. And I could do anything a la San Diego State.
Yeah.
Making it to the championship game a year or two ago.
But I'm looking at this Utah State team, and Coach Calhoun on the Coaches Show last week, I asked him about Drake Allen and Dayton Albury, two of his really good point guards, and he was expecting to lose those guys. Well, guess what? With the, I forget his name, but the Vanderbilt quarterback, those two guys played JC ball, and they've been working with the Mountain West Conference, and they fully anticipate if those two want to come back, they'll be available for Utah State next year. And then you add a big man into the mix and maybe a little bit more shooting, and Utah State could very well be a Sweet 16 team next year.
Is it out of the realm of possibility this year?
No, it's not. And it's not out of the realm this year. No, it's not. I'm just saying, like, take this team and you do lose Martinez, which is a huge blow. But you get Falslev, you get Templin, you get Albury, you get Drake Allen, you get all these guys coming back, and then you can supplement with another player or two in the portal, and you've got tons of experience with this system. Holy smokes. Like, you could be really, really good next year.
Like very, very special.
Yeah.
Okay, you called a team into the round of 32 last year?
Yeah.
You're only one more win.
I know.
So that team that went to the round of 32 last year, you know, you lose a couple of pieces.
Yeah.
But you've added a couple of nice pieces. Would you say this is a better team than that?
They're really different. It's a good question because this team is a better shooting team than last year's team. I mean, they've got guys that can really stretch the field.
You're talking about from three?
From three. Yeah, okay. They're just a better three-point shooting team. But the problem is you don't have that great Osobor inside presence like you had last year. And so Great Osobor was just tremendous. If you put Great Osobor on this year's team, You might have an Elite Eight team on your hands.
Well, right now, as things currently stand, Ian Martinez is my Isaiah Glasker.
Yeah.
Because when Lloyd and I came last year to watch this team in person, Ian Martinez did not wow me. There were some bumbling and some turnovers, and I felt like he was turnover prone, and felt like he even had a couple of shot selections where it's like, man, Ian, dish that out of there, man. What are you doing?
Now, Falslip, he wowed me.
Yeah.
In that game, he was everything.
He was spectacular. Yeah. But Ian Martinez is putting together a heck of a season.
Oh, he is. He and Mason are both right there in the running for Mountain West Conference Player of the Year. I need to talk to you about Mason, though.
Yeah.
He's got the yips from the free throw line.
Oh, no.
Unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Why? What's going on?
I don't know. He can't make a free throw.
I see he was 1 of 7 on Saturday. 1 of 7 from the free throw line's not incredible.
He's shooting 40% from the free throw line in Mountain West games.
40?
40%.
Mason. Mason.
Dude's shooting well higher from 3-point percentage than he is free throw line right now in Mountain West play.
That's weird. We could joke about it, but when you come into clutch minutes, or if you do suffer a loss, and he looks back at his 1 and 7, if they'd have lost that game against Boise State, and he looks back at 1 and 7, that's a lot harder to stomach. That's tough. I don't know the psychology behind free throws. It's got to be similar to the psychology of putts and of field goals.
Yeah,
has to be.
Yeah. All right, 12:47. Hans and Scotty. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
As icky and awkward as it is, it hurts you to win games like the Jazz did over the weekend. And every Jazz fan on my Twitter page was saying the same thing. It gives you that awkward feeling. That's totally backwards, and it feels strange. And it looks like now, over the next week, you probably need to lose every single one of those games to make up for the work you did over the weekend, which is, again, antithetical to what we have tried to sell what sports are about.
I think you should tell those fans, Ben, to simmer down. I refuse to get lost in living and dying with every win and loss when the Jazz or whoever I root for is actually trying to win. I refuse to do the same in this circumstance. They are going to trade everyone they can possibly trade by the deadline, and they're going to lose a zillion games down the stretch. And you know what? If they don't end up in the bottom 3, it doesn't matter because everything is so flat. It doesn't matter. Simmer down.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to Hans Olsen and Scotty G. That's right. Yeah! On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hans, we are down to the final 2 of the national championship.
Yeah, I'm sad about it.
I am too.
Hey, Lloyd, or Scotty, are you guys interested at all in college football conference postseason win percentage?
It used to mean a lot more when you had everybody playing.
Yeah.
And now when you've got guys checking out, it's really hard to judge a team in a conference based on their wins, losses. But that being said,
kind of have to get through the forest a little bit on it.
Yeah.
And, you can make sense of a lot of things. For instance, I'll get into a couple of these. I'll go really quick. So the ACC was the bottom of the barrel. Only 16% wins.
Nice.
In the postseason. Only 2 wins and 10 losses. They only won 2 out of 12 postseason appearances. That was Syracuse and Louisville. Your losers, Clemson, SMU, Pitt, Cal, Georgia Tech, UNC, Boston College, Miami, and North Carolina State, as well as Duke.
Yep.
All of them lost. See, I do think there's something to be said about that the ACC was not real good.
Yeah.
Big 12 came in second to last, 44.4%, 4 wins and 5 losses. SEC came in really third place.
I guess that Big 12, you got to cancel out the BYU win and the Colorado loss.
You're right. Yep. SEC came in at third place, 53.3%. Big 10 really first place at 64.3%, and you got Notre Dame that stands there alone.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's 3 wins in the postseason.
Still can't wrap my brain around the fact that they're playing as well as they are.
I can't either. But here they are with an opportunity, and I don't think they win it. I think Ohio State wins.
I do too. I asked Mike Sanford about that, but Mike's he used to be the OC at Notre Dame, so he's got a little bit of a bias there. And I said, well, if Notre Dame plays Ohio State, does Notre Dame have a chance? He's like, oh, yeah, they've got a chance. And I think they do have a chance, but I don't know what the line is for that game, but I still would take Ohio State anywhere from 7 to 10 points.
All right. Yeah. I'd take Ohio State on the 6.5.
Yeah.
I put a nice chunk of money on Ohio State at 6.5.
Yeah. Is that the number?
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I can give you the number.
If it's 6.5, you can probably put the kids' college fund on that. Hey, entertainment purposes only. Just joking. No, didn't mean that.
The number sits at Ohio State -8.
Okay, that's a good number. That's still a tempting number.
Yep. And the other thing, wanted to mention really quick on what you may have missed because we don't have a slot for it tonight. 6:00, Vikings and the Rams. Vikings, I don't even know how they sit at 14-3. But this thing is remember, it's been moved because of the fires.
Yeah.
And they moved it to Glendale, Arizona. And whether you feel like that's fair or not, what's important is you play this game and that the players are ready to play the game.
Yeah.
And what you do is you go to your locker room and you say, we're moving the game. And then they say, oh, and you say, I'm sorry, what are you paid to do?
Yeah.
Get yourself focused. Get ready to play in Glendale, Arizona, and get ready to beat the Vikings, or vice versa. The Vikings are like, well, we really wanted to be in L.A., which they don't care. No. They don't care where they're playing.
No, they just want to play.
And they want a paycheck, and they want to advance.
Yeah. Yep. All right, Hans and Scotty. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Your national championship game is set. Yes, Notre Dame, who usually finds a way to manufacture their way into the Final Four and then gets blown out in the semifinals year after year. Well, guess what? They got a real-life football team now, and they're not messing around. They're playing some really good football. They're up in front of a buzzsaw, and Ohio State should be a fun one, but help break it all down. The man, the myth, the legend, you love him. It's Ian Fitzsimmons. And based on the people that have been clamoring for Ian, you knocked it out of the park for us this year, man. We can't thank you enough.
What's up, Ian?
Hey, if people are clamoring for my sorry butt, we got problems.
It just shows you the bar's not set that high on this show. So
right.
Then...
Yes, right. Well, boys, Happy New Year, all that good stuff, man. Hey, before we get started in football, I didn't know that there were different strands of the flu. Did you guys know this?
Not really. No, I just thought the flu's the flu.
Yeah, that's what I thought, right? So I get the damn flu at the Rose Bowl, and I start feeling it the Friday after the day after the game. I got to get on a plane and go to Eugene, Oregon, and take my daughter, who worked the game with me as my runner, back to Oregon. And we land in Oregon. I'm like, man, something ain't right. So the next day, I'm coughing up oysters. It is awful. It's nasty, right? But you're having to power through it. I didn't know I had the flu at the time. So yeah, but you got another day and a half here with your daughter. So you just kind of, you take a bite of the old stick, right? And go, all right, cut me, Mick, and you figure out, all right, how to just power through. Finally, the next morning, my wife goes, you need to get tested. So I went and got that triple test. COVID. It says COVID, type B flu, type A flu. I'm like, what in the hell? There's different strands of flu. I test positive for type A. Let me tell you something, boys. I was this close to getting extending my stay in the hotel and not getting on the plane. My wife goes, you dummy. You have no idea how long this is going to last. You go to CVS, you buy a damn mask, you pop half a gummy when you're getting on the plane, knock yourself out, right, for the entire flight home, and then once you get home, you're done. You're good. my wife is a genius, boys, because I'm still dealing with crap from that damn thing. So anybody who tests positive for type A, thoughts and prayers, baby, because this thing stinks. It will knock you to your knees. Other than that, there's my woe is me speech. How we doing, boys?
We're doing good, Ian. It was great catching up with you in the booth. Ian came in like a buzzsaw, Scotty.
Oh, yeah.
And he was flinging information at me like, hey, just so you understand. I'm like, all right, man.
They like this guy. They like that guy.
Yeah.
They hate this guy. Right? Oh, yeah. Come on.
You got all the goods. Sitting down with these coaches, it's pretty insightful for you, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the coaches' meetings are invaluable. And then, but to me, Hans, even when you're on the field, like about an hour and a half before kick, that's when, having a brother in coaching is, and that's when you're going to get your best stuff. My brother's been coaching now in college and pro football for, good gosh, he's got to be, 16 years in now? And, he goes, that's when coaches' guards are down, Hayes in the barn, ain't nothing you can do, and they will tell you everything.
Yeah.
And that's, like, for instance, just catching up with several of the Ohio State coaches before their game against Texas. Like Jimmy Knowles is like, man, we're bringing the house. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, we're coming from everywhere. They start rattling off numbers. 0, 6, meaning Cody Simon, Sonny Styles. They're coming. They ain't gonna know what hit them, and they didn't. Right? Kyle Flood, offensive coordinator and O-line coach for Texas. I was like, what's your biggest concern? And I'm expecting him to say Caleb Downs, number 2, or Sawyer and JTT, 33 and 44 coming off the edge. He goes, man, everyone talks about those guys. Zero is the dude that makes that whole thing go. He calls all the plays, calls all the checks. He's a quarterback of that offense. Hans, that's the stuff I really love, is about an hour and a half before kick when you really get the dirt. That it doesn't get any better than that. And that's why, man, if I were to hit the lottery tomorrow, I'm telling you, I'm still calling games just because of the stuff we're talking about right now. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's just the best. Let's forget about the Northern Illinois game. Obviously, that's a big storyline. Everybody's like, wow, look what they were able to do past that. Yeah.
Scotty, my hands up, man. I'm a football fool. The moment they lost that game, and because of their schedule, they wouldn't let them meat left on them. I said, they're done. They're not even making a 12 team. They're out. They don't have enough to be able to climb back in it, and no conference championship game. I'm a football fool. I was wrong. And here they are playing for the national championship, man. Marcus Freeman has done a remarkable job of, after that loss, not having his guys tuck tail and run, but it galvanized them and made them so much better. Sometimes there's a win and a loss, and that is the ultimate example.
What is it about Marcus Freeman? He's a young dude. I don't think he's even broken 40 yet. What is it about him as a coach that was able to bring that team together in, frankly, what a lot of people at the time thought was a fireable offense, and losing to a team like that?
He's just a leader of men. And he's one of those guys where, after the game, forget 24 hours, man. He's already flipped the script, by the time the team's on the plane, if it's a road game, by the time he gets back to his office. He is a remarkable X's and O's guy, but not only that, but he knows how to push every button. And like prime example, did you guys see the joint press conference at the Orange Bowl between he and James Franklin, and how awkward it got?
Yeah.
Where you can go look it up, guys, or any football fan out there listening right now. This is the kind of thing Marcus Freeman does. James Franklin, head coach of Penn State, goes, Marcus, how old are you? They're at the podium together, the joint presser. 38. Look at that hairline. Oh, my God, so young. I wish I had that hairline. And it was almost like he's talking down to him. Like, look at this young guy up here on this stage with me.
Patting him on the head. Yeah.
Like, good job, youngster. Good job. And Mark, it hacked Freeman off. And he went right back to his team and told him about it. And then they showed the video. And you go read some of the Notre Dame player clips after they came back and beat Penn State. They were citing that. You're trying to get to the national championship. You need more motivation. And Marcus Freeman found another way just to whip his dudes into a full lathered frenzy. And that was it. You see, this guy thinks of me. Imagine when he thinks of you. And you go read those Notre Dame player clips about James Franklin disrespecting their head coach. And they wanted to go put it on him, and they did. And now here they are, as a massive underdog, But after a Northern Illinois loss, and here they are playing for the national championship, Marcus Freeman has done one of the best coaching jobs in all of college football.
Well, he's butting up against Ohio State, who, through their 3 games in the college football playoffs, have beat every team by double touchdowns, whether it's 14+. They're just walking through teams. It feels like Ohio State's kind of on that miracle run right now, Ian, and I'm expecting Ohio State to take care of business against Notre Dame. I want to get your thoughts.
Well, number one, let's go back to Notre Dame, that offensive line. And they lost not one but 2 guys in that semifinal win over Penn State. Now, I have not seen either the Ohio State sidelines. I haven't been focusing a lot on Notre Dame and their injury situation. So I haven't seen if either one of those dudes are going to be full go or if they have already been ruled out. But if one or both can't play, that's going to be a tough task for Love and Riley Leonard. Now, Riley Leonard's a remarkable athlete. Jim Nagy, the recent Senior Bowl director and a 4-time Super Bowl champ with the Patriots and the Seahawks, he told me that Riley Leonard is such a remarkable athlete that Duke basketball, when he was playing quarterback at Duke, actually wanted him to play basketball as well. And not just be like the 14th guy on the end of the bench. He would have gotten minutes, guys, like double-digit minutes. That's how good of a basketball player he is. That's how great of an athlete he is, that Duke basketball wanted the Duke football quarterback to come and play for them and get burned, like serious minutes. That's remarkable. Well, he's going to have to be that kind of an athlete against that Ohio State defensive front. That isn't hunting guys right now, man. They're stalking prey. Tyleik Williams is one of the most underrated interior defensive linemen in all of college football, number 91 for Ohio State. Doesn't give you a lot in pass rush, but, I mean, he hog ties guys on that front to let everyone else run free, and he's a great run stopper. To be able to handle that dude, 58, Sawyer on one edge, JTT, number 44 on the other, and all those linebackers that are coming. Caleb Downs now has the freedom. Jimmy Knowles has turned him loose, Ohio State's defensive coordinator, to play like Troy Polamalu. He's freelancing back there. Hands on Monday night, just watch 2, and you try and tell me if he's in cover 2, cover 3, is he playing man? I mean, you can't tell, bro. He's back there freelancing, and that's how gifted and how smart and what kind of a savant this guy is as a sophomore. Nick Saban told me he was arguably the smartest player he's had since Rashad Johnson. Rashad Johnson was on his year 2 for Nick Saban's Alabama teams, and Rashad spent 10 years in the NFL with Arizona and the Tennessee Titans. That's what Notre Dame is going to have to be dealing with. And if you don't have those 2 guys up front, those 2 starters on the offensive line, it's going to be a daunting task. And I mean, that's why it's a big reason that Notre Dame is a 9.5-point dog coming into this game.
Have you ever seen anything at this young of age like Jeremiah Smith?
They spawned that dude in a lab. This will be the 6th time that I've had Ohio State this year. And we've had the privilege of following them to the playoffs. Tennessee, Rose, Cotton. And I finally walked up to Brian Hartline, a co-offensive coordinator, spent years in the NFL, and wide receivers coach. And I looked at Hart and I said, "Did you guys spawn that dude in the lab?" And he started dying laughing. He goes, "Don't tell anybody." And then he goes into how unselfish the young man is. I mean, you can stack books on the dude's calves, but you never see him complain. He had 1 catch, right? 1 in the Cotton Bowl. And you never saw him complain once behind the bench. Now, and I think, look, he didn't look as fluid. I think he tweaked his back early in the first quarter. You guys remember on the deep post up the right boundary, he went up for a pass and came right out, and he landed awkwardly on that. I can't remember which DB it was for Texas. He landed right on his body, came out, did not go talk to trainers. They came over to him. He's like, "No, I'm good." Waved them off, took a play off, and then went back in. But he didn't look the same. So I think he tweaked that back early in the game, and that was probably in large part why he only had 1 catch and just a couple targets. But Scotty, to answer your question, if he were able to come out in the draft in a few months, he'd be a top 5 pick at 18 years of age. He'd be a top 5 pick.
Well, I know he put up about 200 yards against Oregon. I remember that very well.
He was unstoppable, against Tennessee too. I mean, you name it. Go back to the game, and he's done it. And by the way, that top 5 pick, that's not from me. That's talking to scouts, at the last 3 games, just because having seen him in the regular season and now knowing that we had their path, I just kind of randomly posed the question. If he were to come out, every single one of them, 2 said number 1 overall, every single scout I've talked to said top 5.
Wow.
Just a little bit of a transition, just real quick, Ian. The Dallas Cowboys fire McCarthy.
That's where I live.
And I want to know, is Deion Sanders, is he prime suspect?
All right. Look, I covered the Cowboys for years, as you guys know. And Jerry is just a different animal. I mean, he really is. He doesn't want anybody, and he's never hired a coach outside of Bill Parcells that had a bigger personality or public image than him, because he wants all that shine. He wants every bit of it. The only reason he hired Bill Parcells was to be able to build and have taxpayers in Arlington, Texas, pay for that big old building that's a tribute to him in his mind, right? And that's the only reason Parcells was hired. So to bring in a personality like Deion, that would be very un-Jerry-like. But there are maybe 2 or 3 guys that have that kind of a personality that Jerry really loves and respects. And Deion Sanders is one of them. Deion still has a home in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He and Jerry have always been very close. As a matter of fact, I think of Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter. They're not going to the Senior Bowl. You know which bowl game they're playing in? East-West Shrine Bowl.
There you go.
Why? It's at Jerry World.
Location.
It's in Dallas.
Yep.
So if there's one big-time personality that Jerry would go get that would just dwarf him, it'd be Deion. Having said all of that, Hans, I don't think it's going to happen just because Jerry loves him some Jerry. And here's how stupid the Cowboys are. They've known the entire year that this moment was going to happen, that McCarthy's contract is up. You couldn't have terms laid out as to, and because they both McCarthy wanted to stay, Cowboys wanted him to stay. They couldn't come out. From what I was told this morning, they could not agree on the length of the contract. How the hell do you not have that in place before the end of the season?
Yeah.
If you want the guy to stay, have all that in place and ready to go. Instead, they dragged this damn thing through the bye week where they had an opportunity to go and interview Ben Johnson with the Lions, to go and interview Aaron Glenn with the Lions. Now they can't. And they blocked Mike McCarthy from interviewing the Bears last week.
Yeah.
Classless. So all of that, this is typical dysfunctional Dallas, led by Jerry Jones. So who the hell knows what's going to happen, but I can tell you this, man. They bungled this thing yet again, and here they are in a position where they're kind of left held in their you-know-what in their hand going, now what? Well, now I guess we're about to see. But do I see Deion coming? No, because he's such a massive, massive personality that would overshadow Jerry.
You're the best, Ian. Have a great call, man. Looking forward to catching up with you again here soon.
Done and done, boys. I'll see you.
See ya.
There he is. Ian Fitzsimmons.
A lot to take in there. I don't want Deion to leave.
And I don't think he will, actually.
I think he's so good for the Big 12.
Yeah. And his first time where he actually said out loud that the NFL could be on the table, he's like, I think he said something to the extent of the only way I would leave is if I could coach my kids. And
which doesn't work in the NFL.
No,
it doesn't seem like it would work in the NFL.
Yeah, it's so transactional and business ran that I just don't think so. But I don't think that there's opportunities for him to coach his kids. So I just doesn't make any sense to me. Because I think he's going to want to go somewhere where he can win and win fairly quickly. And I think that if you get the right situation in Dallas, you could win fairly quickly in Dallas. I don't think you can do that in Cleveland or some of these other just garbage spots in the league.
Let's see. Dallas in 2025 will pick 12th.
Yeah. They don't have the ammunition to move up.
Nope. So, yeah, they're not going to be able to.
Who's picking like second, third around there?
Third is New York. Second is Cleveland. First to Tennessee.
So Cleveland can't trade for a quarterback because of the Deshaun Watson debacle. So if I'm Dallas and I say to a team in the top 3 or 4, I will give you Dak and you need to give me that pick. Cleveland can't do it because Deshaun Watson, they can't trade for a quarterback anymore. They're in a bad spot.
And his Achilles is gone.
Yeah, again, which could not happen to a better human being.
Oh, man.
Have you ever seen karma actually just completely wreck somebody like it has? Now, Deshaun Watson can say karma, yeah, look at my bank account. I'm doing just fine.
I'll be making that money whether I'm out there or not. But the karma goes to Cleveland for taking a puke.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, that's a good point. If you're New York, if you're the Giants, you say we'll give you the number 3 pick in exchange for Dak, a proven quarterback, division rival.
Where are they at with Daniel Jones?
Oh, he's gone. He's in Minnesota. I want to say back up in Minnesota now.
Okay, so he's gone.
Yeah.
I might talk to you about that because I think a new voice and a new set of circumstances for Dak would be a very good thing. I know that the Steelers were just bumped out, but look what Russell Wilson did in comparison to what he did the year before. I just think the right voice and the right time could be a huge difference. If I'm New York, I'd rather take my chance at that because I know who Dak is. Dak definitely has his meltdown moments, but you know he's an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Whereas you don't know about Shedeur. You don't know about some of these other guys.
I'm feeling less and less sure about Shedeur at the NFL level. No, that's.
Who do you feel better at quarterback running your NFL team? Cam out of Miami. Because I've seen him go number 1.
Okay.
Cam Ward. Or Shedeur.
Cam.
Really?
Yeah, he can move. Shedeur can't move. Shedeur is not very mobile, guys. Yeah, we picture Deion Sanders and we think, oh, his mobility.
Yeah.
Shedeur does not have that mobility.
There's a reason why he's taking those sacks.
And I saw it up close and in person for the first time, and I was like, okay, he couldn't even get away from Tyler Batty. He couldn't evade him.
Yeah.
Tyler Batty over here taking strays.
No, I'm not.
I'm just kidding.
It's not an attack on Batty. But you should be able to.
If you're a quarterback,
evade.
You should be able to evade Tyler Batty.
And you can't. Now, he couldn't get to the edge on Jack Kelly or Glasgow, but no quarterback could. And there were some fast quarterbacks.
That kid from Houston couldn't get the edge on Jack Kelly.
No, Avery Johnson couldn't get the edge on Jack Kelly. Jack Kelly destroyed Avery Johnson. That was the game changer.
Yeah.
So I get that, but I'm going Cam Ward because I've got mobility. Shedeur does have a beautiful arm, though. He just didn't show it in that bowl game.
All right, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Ethan's hanging out with us from Teton Wealth. And, you know, we're talking about these great sporting events and baseball tours and things like that. And I brought that up to you a while ago, and you mentioned, okay, that's great, that's awesome. And then what happens when that's over with?
Yeah. This is something a lot of guys fall into this trap. We put together a bucket list and we say, you know, because retirement is basically financial independence, right? And you make that, you get Social Security and a little bit of savings that can give you, plus Medicare gives you financial independence. So whenever that happens, maybe it happens in your 50s or your 40s or more traditionally in your 60s. Guys we love to come up with bucket lists. I want to go here. I want to see this. But you're right. We knock those out, and then what? What do you do for the next 20 years?
You can knock all those out in a year.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, a lot of guys do. You know, I sit down with a lot of guys that are like, I'm done playing golf. I thought I wanted to play golf forever, but it turns out I didn't.
7 days a week is too much.
Yeah, there is such thing as too much golf. Not for everybody, right? Someone might love that, but I'm telling you, this is going to happen. And one of the number one things that you can do for yourself in putting together your plans for retirement is finding your purpose in life. Not just a bucket list. What's your real purpose? You know, right now your purpose might be your career or your business or raising your family, working on your marriage. You know, we have a lot of things that get us up every morning, get us out the door, get us focused. When all those things go away, what's that purpose going to be? Because I'm telling you, it's not going to be golf.
It's not. You really do need a purpose.
Yeah.
When you're instructing people or talking to people and they don't have a pension in their future, which heavy percentage of Americans right now, they won't have a pension.
No, very
pension,
few.
Right?
Yeah, very few.
Very few. What are some of your instructions for people that aren't going to have that pension?
Yeah.
What are some of your instructions for that?
So you've got to identify. So the first thing, you've got to identify that lifestyle that you need. And that kind of goes hand in hand with your purpose, right? How much are you going to be spending day to day, week to week? Social Security is going to cover some. Your pension would have. So then it kind of falls on your savings. A lot of guys like to carry on some extra employment, right? Just do a little part-time job. That's hugely helpful. But otherwise, it's calculating out, okay, how much money are you going to need coming in? And if that's an amount that's invested, how much do you need to have in that account, and how well does it need to grow in order to get that? Because you basically kind of set a date out in the future, and then a number of things kind of have to line up and land on that date. It's the good thing is it's a pretty simple process. You just have to be able to sit down and kind of do the math. And then once you have that math done, that's what illuminates the path forward. And if you've never had a chance to do this, you need to do an ascent plan with Teton Wealth Group. We're giving away 10 this hour, 435-255-6331. Make sure you call in, 435-255-6331, and we'll do an ascent plan for you. We've all heard it described. It's a little stack of papers with your information on the inside, your name on the front, and it shows you what you need to do to get to that retirement. Whether or not you have a pension, it shows you what you need to do to get there. It's hugely valuable. There's no cost, no obligation. So call right now, 435-255-6331. Let's make 2025 the year we get a date down for your retirement. It'll be amazing.
435-255-6331. It's Teton Wealth. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
Tim Reynolds, NBA writer for the Associated Press.
By no fault of their own, the Jazz are stuck in this weird nowhere space because there's not enough teams out there able to make deals. So before the trade deadline, everybody thinks that they're in it. Trade deadlines earlier, playing in tournament means everybody's still kind of mathematically in it for the most part. No one's going to be sellers, and the teams that probably want to sell can't make a deal because of the apron. The Cat for Julius Randle trade should have been pretty easy, and it took those guys almost a week to pull it off because of all the complexities of this new CBA. It absolutely affects Jazz fans, and I feel like this is a franchise who's stuck on the wrong side of it. They want to dance, but they don't have a dance partner. You got to have a dance partner to dance, and there's just not enough dance partners right now in the NBA for anybody.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to saddle up and talk about the winners and the losers. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the good.
It is your good, it is your bad, it is your ugly, all brought to you by RGS Exteriors. Hans, let's start with the good. Hey, how about Bobby Wagner still making plays in the league?
Bobby Wagner's still a dude, man. Can't move him. He's a lot bigger than he used to be.
Yeah.
You see how thick he is? He's a thick milkshake right now. I don't know what he's at, but he's got to be 258, 262.
Yeah, and it's not a bad 258.
No, he's more of a run-stopping back than he's ever been in his life.
It's like you evolve as a player, and Bobby has evolved. If you look at him compared to when he was coming out of Utah State, when he looked like a rail compared to where he's at now.
Yeah, he's thick, but yesterday in that Tampa Bay Washington game, which was the best game of the wildcard weekend.
By a mile.
We'll see what happens with LA tonight, but I've got to imagine that when you got a walk-off field goal, it's always great.
Yeah, and a doink too.
But you had a situation where Tampa Bay had an opportunity to really burn out clock, drive the field, and in the game with a field goal themselves. It was a 4-minute drill, and they could have ran it out if they would have executed the right way, but Baker Mayfield goes for a fake fly sweep exchange. I don't know if he was supposed to give. You never know. Was the sweeper supposed to grab it, but it got knocked out of his hand, and there was Bobby Wagner. He secured it, and just 4 plays later, you had Washington in the end zone, and they got their first postseason win since, I believe, the turn of the century. Was it 1894 or something like that? Washington hasn't had a win.
You went and saw some historical sites. It's about the same time those places were active.
Yeah, about the time the Kirtland Temple was in completion. You had the Washington Commanders finding a way to get a postseason week. They just can't. They have been deplete of any success.
And as much as I love my guy Bo Nix, and trust me, I am all about Bo. My kid was yelling out LFB, and I'm like, wait. I'm like, Brody, you can't be dropping that. Instead of go, he likes to say Bo. And he's like, let's LFB. You know how people are saying LFG?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now
he's a creative little fella.
Yeah, that kid, man.
He's a handful.
He's a big handful, and it's only getting worse.
You've got yourself a little rock on your hands.
I think I have a little Hans Olsen on my hands.
Yeah, no.
No, you
don't want that. Little rock, yes, because he'll be successful. You don't want me.
But anyway, as much as I like my guy Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels has to be your rookie of the year.
Jaden Daniels for sure. 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He added he was your leading rusher for Washington. 40 yards on 13 carries. I mean, he can scoot.
You know,
he's all everything.
Honestly, when you look at, I know every year where there's a bunch of quarterbacks taken in the first round, be like, oh, is this the 83 draft where you had, Boomer and Jim Kelly and Elway and all those guys, Marino, and everybody's like, oh, is this going to be the next 83? Is this the next class of 83? You've got Bo Nix. You got Jaden Daniels.
Number 1, right?
Yeah. No, Bo went number 12.
Oh, who went number 1?
It was...
Because I know Jaden was number 2.
Who?
Caleb Williams.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Caleb Williams.
So, yeah, Caleb Williams won, and then you've got Drake May in the mix, who looked pretty good. I mean, he showed some flashes. You got Penix, who looked great down the stretch. And then you got Jaden Daniels, who win Rookie of the Year. Then you got Bo Nix. Bo Nix was the 5th quarterback taken out of the bunch at 12.
Real quarterbacks.
So these young QBs are like, I'd like one of those. That'd be nice. I'd like one.
You have to keep your picks in order to be able to pick.
But I do think this has a chance of being a really special quarterback class.
Yeah, Jaden's showing that. Getting a postseason win.
When Caleb Williams had probably the worst season out of the bunch, then you got yourself a pretty good class.
Yep.
All right. There's your good. Let's get to the bad.
Now the bad.
Well, we talked about a good from a Utah State player. We got to talk about the bad. Jordan Love did not have himself a good day in that loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. He had gone 7 consecutive games without an interception. Had only thrown 7 on the season, but gave 3 away to Philadelphia. He was 20 of 33 passing, 212 yards, no touchdowns, but had those 3 interceptions. And Green Bay just ran into a buzzsaw.
He finished that season out 7 straight games.
Yeah.
No picks. 7 games. He'd figured it out. He'd locked it down.
Yeah.
And then he throws 3.
Yep.
Then we go to Justin Herbert, who was worse.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because he had just thrown 3 interceptions all season long. And he threw 4 in that postseason game against the Texans.
The latest Phillip Rivers.
I love
Great regular season quarterback. Terrible.
It was almost like Marty Schottenheimer and Phillip Rivers were back coaching and playing for that team.
That's crazy. I will say he was hit early. He was hit often. He was hit a lot. And I'm going back to, what game was that? Where quarterback was, Texas. Ewers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'll go back to that Texas game where Quinn Ewers, they're on the 1. They go dive, get stopped. They run a stupid sweep that gets stopped for loss. And I believe it was on 4th and maybe 4 or 4th and 5. Quinn Ewers goes to throw. He steps back, and before he's even really positioned, his right tackle gives up an immediate pass rush. And Quinn's like, gotta go. And it changed the whole flow. And that ends up in a strip sack, which was then a scoop and score and taken the other way. And Ohio State ends up just beating Texas down. Well, I felt the same way about Herbert. Now, Herbert deserves a lot of the blame, but you can only get hit so many times before you're like,
this isn't fun.
Who else isn't showing up?
Yes.
I'm not the only one that didn't show up. Where's my offensive line? Guys are not giving me any time. You talk about Jaden Daniels consistently dropped into a pocket and was like, no.
I'm going to call Mom and see what she thinks.
Can I phone a friend?
Yeah.
oh, that route's developing. Oh, it's starting to look better. Okay, I'm going to throw that.
Yeah.
And it was like, there was one where they were like on the 7-yard line, 4.5 seconds. He sat there and was like, no. And it was a 4-man rush and nothing. And he just delivers a route that developed in the back of the end zone. Like that, those are the types of throws that just shock you, man. That are incredible. But you got to have your offensive line show up. And they didn't for Justin Herbert. Now, I didn't see as much of the Green Bay game. Was Jordan Love hit a lot?
Jordan Love got smacked around a little bit.
Did he?
Yeah, they got after him.
Was he slow in his delivery? Philly's
it did, and there were some bad decisions. Like he was down in the goal line, and I want to say they were down 16-7, something like that, where, you get a touchdown and you're good to go. Like, you're right back in that thing. And they ended up getting a field goal and cutting it to a 6-point game. I mean, there were a lot of opportunities for Philadelphia, and he had 2 throws. There was a quick out that was just strictly timing. Like, that's one that I'm sure you saw Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison 3 hours before kickoff just running those quick outs where that ball was in the air before the cut was made, and Marvin would turn around and be right in his back pocket, and the ball sailed on him, and then there was one in the corner of the end zone that it would have been a really difficult throw to make, but you're in the NFL, you got to make that throw. And he couldn't connect on that one. And Green Bay has to kick the field goal at 16-10. It still makes it a one-possession game, but then Philadelphia just keeps adding on to it and making it, just out of reach at that point. So there was just these little teeny throws that there weren't pressure. You just got to step into it and you got to deliver it. And it just was off.
Let's hit this ugly, buddy. I want to hit this.
Yeah.
And of course, the ugly.
Well, we talked about the Utah State Aggies and how good they've been playing. Currently 6-0?
6-0 in Mountain West, 16-1 overall.
6-0 in Mountain West Conference play, and we just watched BYU put their third loss together against TCU. Now, that was in Fort Worth, Saturday night, and BYU just couldn't get things going. They didn't have a bucket in the final 3 minutes and 10 seconds of that game. Not a single bucket in the final 3 minutes, 10 seconds. One thing that really stood out to me when I was looking at some of the numbers was that TCU had 13 more shots than BYU. And a lot of that had to do, obviously, with the turnovers. BYU turned it over 16 or 17 times. And BYU looks a little bit lost right now.
Yeah.
That they needed to find a win against TCU. Now, Oklahoma State comes to the Marriott Center, and now they more desperately need one because they're going to be at home, and they've got to find a way to get off this current negative streak that they're on. But they're going to have to shoot their way out of it.
We talked about, while you were gone last week, we're like, who's the get-right teams in the Big 12? And we kind of made the joke with the old poker reference. If you don't know who the get-right team is, you might be the get-right team in regards to the University of Utah. Well, I think over the weekend we found out who the get-right team is in the Big 12, and it might be Oklahoma State. I mean, Utah put it on them, beat them by 20 some odd points in Salt Lake City. So Oklahoma State coming up next for BYU might be the get-right team that they need at this moment.
And they've got the 2 possible get-right teams in a row, Oklahoma State and Utah. Problem is they got to go to the Huntsman Center in that rivalry game, and it's kind of like all bets are off in that. But you've got Oklahoma State and BYU, and then the great thing is you might have the third get-right game of the conference right now, which is Colorado. Colorado's 0-4 in conference play, so you go Oklahoma State, Utah, Colorado.
Yeah.
It's time to figure out your woes, settle down, and make a push to the end of the season. And then Cincinnati follows up Colorado. So Colorado's bottom of the conference. Cincinnati's 0-4 in the conference.
Yeah.
So you've got Oklahoma State, Utah, Colorado, Cincinnati.
Yeah. And Utah's only win is against Oklahoma State.
Yeah, right. So you got some very winnable games.
But then you hit February, and then it's the gauntlet. You got to stack wins, as many as possible in this stretch.
Then you hit February.
Because they very well could be 5-3 after that stretch. And if you do that, then you're golden. You're in a great spot. But if you go 2-2 in this stretch, that's no bueno. All right, 148, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Another edition of What You May Have Missed coming up next. And then in the 2 o'clock hour, we continue to recap the weekend that was in all of the NFL and college hoops and get you ready for a national championship game. It's all right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Christian's never seen Almost Famous because you and I are both ancient. One of the best movies ever. And Earl is the lead singer. Jason Lee.
Jason Lee. Who started his career as a professional skateboarder. Did you know that? He's like one of the greatest skateboarders of all time. And was like, I'm going to shift into being a big-time actor.
Scientologist.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
What do you mean? Isn't it a well-known fact that Jason Lee is a Scientologist?
I just thought it was a little irrelevant to the story, but
well known to one out of the three of us.
I don't know. I was thinking of all the things that I know about Jason Lee. Ben dropped this skateboarder thing in there, which seemed fairly fascinating. I just happen to know the guy's a Scientologist. That's all.
What are you implying? About Jason Lee today.
What are you saying? I wasn't saying anything negative about him. I just pointed it out. Scientologist.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Go! It's time to span the globe for the hard-hitting news you care about. Well, not really. But hey, at least we found it interesting. This is Whole World News on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
We've got the whole world in our hands. You got the whole world in our hands. We've got the whole world in our hands. We've got the whole world in our hands. We've got the whole world in our hands. You got you and me, brother.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up on the 2 o'clock hour, it's another edition of Whole World News, where we span the globe to try to find something that hopefully will at least interest you a little bit, because it's not always about sports on this show.
So today's Whole World News, we are going to go to Canada. And there is a service in Canada that puts together, because Canada has 911 calls too.
All right.
So there's a service in Canada that every year.
Just come on aboard, Canada. Just be part of us.
I know.
Come on. Get rid of your loonies and your toonies and just come on aboard.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's unify.
Mexico too?
Let's do Canada first. See how this works out.
I want those Tim Horton donuts.
Well, yeah, and I do want the lower portions. I want that Yucatan Peninsula. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so like maybe parts of Mexico.
Yeah.
Tijuana, you keep Tijuana. We don't want that.
Just section that off.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of parts that I would love to have.
Yeah.
But Canada has a 911 service just like America does. And every year they put together their top 10 worst 911 calls in terms of stupidity. Like, why are you calling? And they just released their top 10 worst 911 calls of 2024. The stupid things that people call for. I just can't believe it. Here is the top 10 stupidest reasons to call 911 in Canada in 2024.
Not cleaning their room, littered ice cream, and a mean cat are some of the calls to police that missed the mark in 2024. We had another busy year of answering calls, and our OCC employees would like to share with you the top 10 reasons not to call 911 that they heard in 2024. Let's hear it from the floor.
At number 10, someone called to advise that they didn't recognize someone on their social media friend list.
Number 9, a frustrated individual called to complain that their parents were forcing them to clean their room.
Number 8, a caller advised that a fox was roaming around the local neighborhood and scaring a local cat.
Number 7, 911 dispatchers received a call from a person saying that they had problems with bees in their home.
Number 6, a concerned individual called 911 to ask for help to unlock their cell phone.
Number 5, an individual called 911 to report that somebody had thrown their ice cream on the ground.
Number 4, the caller advised that their cat was being mean to them. They were hoping an officer would come and help with the situation.
Number 3, 911 dispatchers received a call for a person having trouble with their washing machine.
Number 2, an individual called 911 asking for help on a math equation as they didn't want to fail their test in the morning.
And the number 1 call that missed the mark in 2024. 911 dispatchers received a call from an individual reporting that their tambourine was taken from a party they were at. And on that note, no pun intended, please remember, whether you're frustrated with your washing machine, whether you're trying to unlock your iPhone, or suspicious of a fox in your neighborhood, calling 911 is for life-threatening emergencies or crimes in progress. Anything else, you can call 310-RCMP. That's 310-7267.
All right. I mean, the tambourine's a theft, right? You're reporting a theft?
Yeah, that was the final one. He was missing a tambourine.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you hit against your leg, right?
I think so. That has the little jingles. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not Mr. Musical guy, but I think
that's not true. You're Mr. Musical.
Well, I love
guy.
the musics. I love to go to the musicals, but I don't know my instruments really well. The cat can actually be pretty menacing.
Yeah,
You know, when a cat's mad, I've seen cats hold people hostage.
The fox scaring cats. Now, we actually, in Bountiful, we have a problem with, work with me a little bit on this one before you start giggling. We have a significant cougar issue in Bountiful where they've been just destroying. Like, we had a neighbor that had these 3 cougars take this deer underneath their deck and just tear it to shreds.
Really?
Yeah.
Ate it, huh?
Yeah.
Dang. That's crazy.
Why are you finding so much humor in this?
Who, me? I'm not the one giggling right now. But yeah, cougars are on the prowl in Bountiful.
So what you're saying is leave the cougars alone.
Yeah.
Let them do their work.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think some of those probably were justified. Right?
The math equation, no. The fox, maybe. The cat, maybe. I could see you as a 8-year-old calling 911 and saying, they're making me clean my room. It's not fair.
Kids get a hold of the 911 and they'll dial it up. Kids will make a mess of things.
Yeah.
I once got myself in a little bit of trouble because I scared my mother-in-law. I hid in the. Have you heard this? I told you this story.
I don't think so.
I hid in the garage, and she opened the door, and I was behind the car, and I ducked down real fast when she opened the door.
Yeah.
And she thought I was an intruder, and she called 911. And then I continued on with the prank, and I started banging on the door. And then my wife came down, and she was screaming.
You go way too far.
She was screaming through the door to go away, and I thought everything was okay. I thought we were having a good time.
You were having a good time.
Until one of them yelled through the door, 911 is on their way. And I was like, oh honey.
Hey, nope.
Honey, hang up the phone.
It's me.
911 showed up.
Oh, boy. Okay, that's not good.
The cops showed up. They showed it, even though they were on with them and said, oh, it's just my husband, he's pranking, they still come.
Yeah.
And I got a chewing. Like a real...
Was this in California or was this in Utah?
It was in Saratoga Springs.
Okay, because if in California, you may be serving like 3 years.
I know, huh?
Yeah.
But Saratoga Springs, it was a tongue lashing.
Yeah.
And somehow you still have not learned your lesson.
Because you did tell your wife to call 911 because your son had fallen through the ice.
I said to get help. I wasn't specific on the mode of getting help.
Well, the automatic help for somebody falling the ice, that would be 911.
I felt really bad about that one.
Now, she didn't actually call 911.
No.
She didn't tie up the line.
No, because I thought that having 2 false calls on 911 would look good on my record.
That probably doesn't look good. Yeah.
So I told her pretty quick, but they do show up. They'll double check a situation just to make sure that somebody's not getting held hostage and being told to say it's my husband.
Blink twice, Miss Olson, if really is your husband.
Yeah. And by the way, my mother-in-law didn't speak to me for a while after that.
Well, and also, too, if people don't know that you've got an NFL background, oh, no, I shouldn't say this. But like Amanda's Amanda.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait a minute, this
is not your husband. No, it really is my husband. Show us a picture.
Yeah, we're going to need to see wedding pictures. Because I know in my house, they'd be like, no, this doesn't look right.
Meanwhile, I'm in the cuffs in the back of a cop car for 2 hours explaining my situation. I was much better looking in college. I'm actually funny. I have a good sense of humor.
I can sing really well.
But, sir, I can tell that you make no money. I know.
But I was in the NFL.
But I make up for that in spades with laughter.
That's why you need to keep that NFL player's card.
Yeah, just show them like, hey, there was a time when I could bench 525 pounds.
Yes.
That did impress. But I understand your concern, officer. You're a jerk. But it was a fun run to go down.
Hans and Scotty. Ethan's hanging out with us from Teton Wealth. And Ethan, look, there's one thing that can help. Look, there's a lot of issues that can crop up in a marriage. Yeah. Financials is probably number one, right?
Oh, my gosh. Have you ever heard, a really super rich person say that money won't solve all your problems? I always hated hearing that. I'm like, well, how about I get the chance to see that for myself?
I'd like to try.
Because it feels like all my major problems are financial. So you're telling me that fixing my financial problems won't solve my, won't be a solution. I never liked that when people would say that. So, and needless to say, I focus on helping people solve their financial problems because it's really important. We say money's not the most important thing, but gosh, it's up there.
Pretty doggone close.
I'd like to see you do without it.
Yeah, it's up there. You've got to have, in our day and age, if you're going to have some peace of mind and if you're going to have some calm, some personal calm in your life, you've got to be on a path. You've got to be on a financial path. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to end up rich, but you've got to have some calm there, some plan, some peace and a plan there. It's so important. That's what we do at Teton Wealth Group. We really believe in this ascent plan process that we developed, and we have loved, 2024 was such a great year for us.
Good.
Because of all of the families that we met through the zone. All the great sports fans, all the great zone listeners that we met in 2024 just has blessed our firm and blessed all of us a lot. Just some awesome people. And so we want to keep that going, and we want to make sure that we're retiring as many sports fans as we can this year, and that we're helping younger families get on that firm path. So if you don't have an ascent plan yet from Teton Wealth Group, call right now, 435-255-6331. That's 435-255-6331. We still have several left. We've had it's the new year. Things are moving a little slow. We've still got 6 left.
Good.
So don't be afraid. Plenty of openings. 435-255-6331. And we'll sit down and make sure that you're on that well-worn path to live the financial life that you want and enjoy the retirement that really is fulfilling for you.
How nice would that be in 2025 to finally get it together?
Yes.
We talk about New Year's resolutions. How about 2025?
Yeah.
Make it the year of financial clarity.
Yeah.
And it just starts with a phone call. You're going to get this ascent plan. It's a packet that puts all of your finances together for you, and you're going to get that for free. Plus, you're going to get a copy of Ethan's book.
That's right. How to Retire Without a Financial Advisor. And I always get that question. Why did you do this? This is the work you do. Why are you telling people not to use you? I'm not telling people not to come to Teton, not to use Teton. We're trying to say something about ourselves, and that is this is not rocket science, right? This is very straightforward information. You can do it yourself. If you want to, here's how. Or you can have us do it for you. But this is how it's done.
I love it.
And we really believe in that. So 435-255-6331.
Call right now. Let's get you on that path and feel good. And frankly, you know what? You might be saving marriages out there. 435-255-6331. Teton Wealth, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Number 1. Miss any part of the show? Every moment of every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, this is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Oh, man, just watching that fumble again. Baker, what are you doing? God, what do you think was the plan there? That was a handoff, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was thinking to hand it. The fake sweep had no intention to grab it, and it fell to the ground. I was watching it was a 3-receiver set, and 2 of the receivers were in a blocking route, and the receiver on the right was on a quick slant. So I don't know.
Sorry.
The 2 receivers on the outside left,
yeah,
they were blocking as if it was a sweep.
Yeah.
So but there was a quick slant that was run off the right side. So it was almost like it could work either way, and Baker had to make the decision pre-snap, or there was an indicator for both the sweep and the quarterback pre-snap, like whatever it was, safety depth, nickel up, where they saw it, and then they knew without communication that it was a give or it was a take and throw, and they just weren't on the same page. But the reason it's so important is it lost the game for Tampa Bay.
100%.
It solely lost the game, and Bobby Wagner did jump on the fumble, and happy for that future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Now, they were able to go kick the field goal and tie it back up at 20, and Jaden Daniels did need to go down the field and kick the game winner, which, just stellar. But I'm just glad we got a good game because so much other football was just trash.
Do you know that was a 37-yard field goal? If that was a 37.5-yard field goal, it would have missed. It would have hit square on the upright and bounced out instead of hitting the inside of the upright and bouncing in. That's a difference of a half yard.
How about the nerves that kicker showed going out there? I don't know if that's normally his routine, but his helmet thing, pulling his helmet off and then
the sweeping his hair,
and then back partially on, and then I was like, I don't know if that's a normal tick for him, but it was strange, and he looked super nervous.
Kickers are so weird. They're so weird, and it's like, look, the Bills were going to beat the Broncos. I totally know that, but that being said, Denver gets the ball. They go down the field. They're down 10-7.
Opening drive, right?
10-7 late in the second quarter. And it's a 50-yard field goal. It's a big one, but he doinks it, and it goes off, and they miss, and now they're down 10-7 going into halftime. You make that field goal, it's 10-10. Maybe you carry a little momentum. It's tied up.
Did they not, with their opening drive, did they not just go right down the street?
Yeah. First, now they lost the coin toss, so they got the ball to start, and they took them 4 plays and a 46-yard bomb, and boom, they're up 7-0.
Looking real good.
And they don't score a point the rest of the game.
In that moment, were you thinking...
I'm thinking, all right.
Yeah.
But what I didn't anticipate happening, I didn't think Denver was going to win that game. I didn't anticipate they'd get blown off the line of scrimmage like they did. Buffalo just bullied them.
They did.
They just beat them up at the line of scrimmage.
I'm wondering what the Broncos' capital is now to build around a very young and potentially incredible quarterback. I don't want him to have that tap out. We've seen Josh Allen be good for a long time now. Mm-hmm. We've seen Justin Herbert be good for a long time now. And it's like at some point to have that breakthrough and go win that Super Bowl, you've got to build and you've got to put the right pieces around them. And you've got to be in the right mode to be able to do that. And I feel like Denver is going to suffer for the Russell Wilson decision for another 5 years.
Yeah, at least another 2.
Yeah.
Because you still have extra cap that you're giving him next year. I think, you took care of a good chunk of it this year, still more of it next year, and I think there's one more year of it before you can finally get that from underneath you.
Get some relief on that.
Yeah. But even then, you're wasting, even though there's an end date to it, you're wasting this golden time where you have Bo Nix on the cheap, relative cheap.
Yeah.
And that's your window where you can pay other players, and then eventually Bo's gonna get his dump truck of cash coming his way. But you would love to be able to spend that over the next 2 years on other players before you have to give him all the money.
How consistent, how stable do you feel like the Denver Broncos run game is?
Not very. They need to find a guy. They've had a cavalry of guys, but none that have been the guy.
Because you've noticed that the teams that have that run staple are the teams that are winning.
Yes. Yep.
Philly's got the best running back in the NFL, and I think it's going to be really tough to stop Philly.
Should you, if you're the Giants, should that general manager be fired based on that decision alone? Because we've all seen like the video of him being like, well, he's getting older and blah, blah, blah. And then a guy being like, or I think it was the owner that said, if he goes to Philadelphia and blows up, I'm going to be really upset.
How many season-ending injuries did Saquon Barkley have? Did he lose, what, 2 or 3 seasons?
I don't know the exact number.
But there was a few, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And there's been, I mean, going back, obviously hindsight being 2020, you understand why the Giants did what they did. Like, they look foolish now, but if you go back in time and you put yourself in their shoes, you're like, it's like the Greg Oden, Kevin Durant draft. Everybody rips on Portland for taking Greg Oden, but if you polled every GM at the time before the draft, they all would have done the same thing. But now they'd be like, oh, I never would have taken Greg Oden. Bull crap, you would have.
You would have.
Yeah, everybody was going to.
So to the point of rushing, number one rusher in the NFL, Saquon Barkley, put up 2,005 yards in the regular season. He's still running around postseason. Number 2 running back, Derrick Henry, Baltimore Ravens.
Again.
Baltimore looks really good.
I can't wait for that Baltimore-Buffalo game.
And I think because of Derrick Henry and because Baltimore's starting to show some defense, I think they – I'm having a hard time even saying it. I think they can come out of the AFC.
Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
I think they can beat the Chiefs. No?
I think they can. I think Baltimore or Buffalo can beat the Chiefs.
Because I think Derrick Henry they
didn't have a running game before.
Right. With the support,
it was all Lamar.
Yeah.
With the support and push of Derrick Henry. And then the unpredictable nature of Lamar.
Yeah. By the way, I thought Derrick Henry was going to be a terrible fit.
I did too.
I thought he was going to be terrible.
And
it worked out well.
Has he been beautiful?
Yeah.
And then you got Jahmyr Gibbs with the Detroit Lions, is the 5th leading rusher at 1,412 through the season. Josh Jacobs, who just got knocked out, Green Bay. Kyron Williams, who we're going to see tonight with the Rams, he's number 7. So, Aaron Jones, who's number 9, we'll see tonight against the Rams from Minnesota. I know it feels like good running backs are a dime a dozen, but when you got a Joe Mixon or you got a Saquon Barkley or you got a Derrick Henry, it's just showing that you're going to show up in the postseason and you might see Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry facing off.
Yeah. We're seeing a golden age not golden age. We're seeing an age of running backs because it used to be like you get 3 or 4 years out of them and then you toss them to the waste bin and go get another one. Well, now guys are showing a little bit of long in the tooth. They can hang in there a bit.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised to see the number 1 and number 2 running backs face off in the Super Bowl.
Would be awesome. I would love it.
Very possible.
Yeah. And especially guys that have that kind of history and tradition and showing guys that you can stay in the league for multiple years. You can play for different teams. And maybe you shouldn't be giving up on running backs so early in their career and just being like, oh, yeah, the tread's off the tires. Kick them to the curb. We're done here.
How much confidence do you have in Jalen Hurts?
I have a lot of confidence in Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Okay, who do you have more confidence in the playoffs, Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson?
Lamar.
I mean, Jalen's been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Lamar has a real iffy track record of playing the Chiefs in the playoffs.
He's been to the AFC Championship, is it twice?
Yeah. And now, granted, he's lost to the best team.
the eventual Super Bowl winner.
Yeah.
That is a really tough one.
Right now, I would lean Hurts, but for some reason I feel like I'm with you on Baltimore. They've got this weird, like, I don't want to say team of destiny, but they just feel like things are all clicking right now for them. And I think this might be the team that can go to Kansas City and knock them off.
Lamar Jackson, I just want to take a look at the two. Lamar Jackson, 4,172 passing yards on the season. Jalen Hurts, 2,903. Lamar completed 66.7%. Jalen Hurts at 68.7%. Lamar was a 119 rating. Hurts is a 103. I would give it to Lamar. It's just kind of my initial instinct.
Yeah.
But you're right. Jalen Hurts he's pretty steady.
Yeah.
What does he squat? 780 or something?
Yeah, just a ridiculous
8'10"?
number.
He's an extremely strong lower body.
Everybody, my son was like, why isn't everybody doing the tush push? Because you need a real sturdy quarterback to be able to handle that.
That dude has insane strength, lower body strength.
Yeah, between him and now they're doing it in Buffalo with Josh Allen. I think those are really the only two quarterbacks you can get away with doing that.
And plus, you've got to know that your quarterback's tough.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, you do end up under about 1,200 pounds of pressure.
Yeah.
And
you're getting bent in all different kinds of directions.
Because you typically end up with 4 or 5 guys that are in the trench on your back or on a leg and you get smushed. And when I would have a quarterback sneak come at me as a D tackle and you get low and you press up under and you're trying to get the push, the guys that come and jump on top, the linebackers, the D tackle that's opposite of the gap that the quarterback, because the quarterback doesn't go straight. The quarterback will force to the right side of the hip or the left side of the hip of the center, depending on the tilt and alignment of the tackles, or knowing which guard gets better press or had through the. Anyway, there's a lot of details on where he goes. It's not just a take it to me, I'm going to go right down the middle. It's a slight change off to the left or to the right. And they end up with people on their back. You got to have a very durable quarterback to run it. I do get sick of not being able to see more quarterback sneaks. For instance, Texas on the 1 yard line.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So you're telling me Quinn Ewers can't get me 1 yard with 4 snaps? Give me 4 snaps. Tell my offensive line, do it or die.
Yeah. You guys are well compensated.
Yes. Do it or die. And Quinn, if you can't, then I'll put Manning in.
Yeah.
But somebody's going to go get me a yard in 4 snaps.
Yeah. And we're not doing this reverse fly sweep bull crap.
No. That's stupid. That pitch that ended up for a tackle for 6 yards, 7 yard loss.
Ridiculous.
That put him in the 4th down situation. The reason that stands out so much to me is I saw the criticism on the play calling, and I was not a fan either. I just want the QB sneaks.
Yeah, I'm with you. And in this day and age of college athletics, and I've talked to coaches about this, I've even seen coaches in victory formation still in shotgun. And I ask him, what are you doing? He's like, we don't practice under center. We're never under center in practice. So in those kind of situations where it's 4th and goal at the 1 yard line or it's victory formation, we want our guys to do what they're comfortable doing, and asking them to do something that we don't ask. Well, to me, that's on you as a coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The lost art of being under center.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. When I saw a victory formation from a team that was in shotgun, so the guy would take the shotgun snap and then take a knee. I'm like, this is freaking believable.
It's so stupid. It makes no sense. So tonight, everybody, get your TVs on. It's ABC broadcast, Minnesota Vikings, LA Rams, the final game of the wild card weekend. It was moved.
Yeah.
And it was moved into Glendale, Arizona. So it's going to be there at the State Farm Stadium.
Talk about quarterbacks you trust. I don't trust Sam Darnold. I mean, I would like to, but I think I think the Vikings will win this game, but boy, if there's a quarterback you think will give it up and really wet the bed, it would be Sam Darnold.
Well, you talk about guys that have been there. Matt Stafford's been there.
Yeah.
So do you go?
He didn't look great against the Lions either.
No.
He looked like the pressure got to him.
This is Puka Nacua has become the thing to watch in the NFL. He's become a showpiece. Cooper Kupp had it for a lot of years. Cooper was the primary target and was so much fun to watch. But now it's Puka Nacua. If the Rams do get the upset, and by the way, it's Vikings 2.5 right now.
Yeah.
If the Rams do get the upset, it'll be because Puka Nacua puts up 120 yards and a touchdown, at least a touchdown.
All right, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, bro. You hear us every day with our crazy opinions.
Hey, what you doing?
Well, now it's time to hear from you.
Hey, great show.
Download the KSL Sports app and fire off your thoughts with the call-in tab on the bottom of your screen.
Your show is fantastic. It's the one that captivates me the most.
You can tell PK to stop singing.
G-Bang!
Let Jake and Ben know what you really think of the Jazz. Woo! Tell Hans and Scotty about your favorite barbecue spot or what color of tie JJ should be wearing on TV. The best entries will be played on the air. Download the KSL Sports app now and hit the call-in button to let your voice be heard.
I think you guys do an incredible job.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The wheel is loaded, and it's time to talk some sports. This is Sports Roulette with Hans and Scotty on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to kick it off. It's another edition of Sports Roulette. We take some of the big storylines, put it on a roulette wheel, we spin it. Wherever that little ball lands is what we end up talking about. So, with that, Lloyd, fire it up.
Call your mama. We've got a winner.
Isaiah Collier, baby.
Yeah. Do we have Locke's call on this? I'm kind of curious to know how Locke did on this one. Now, because I'm super I don't know. And we do the show every day. We do 15 hours of live radio. People can dissect and be like, okay, that was a good segment. That sucked. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't bother me. Sometimes we're good. Sometimes we're not good. It's just but sometimes when you do play-by-play and you have a big moment, you get really I get really insecure about it. And I wasn't a huge fan of the way I handled that call.
Because it called the miss?
Because I called the miss, and then I'm like, wait, no, it's good. And then I freaked out, and then I'm just like, whoa, that's crazy. It's just like, I could have handled that one better. So I'm a little upset with myself. So now I'm always like, well, how do other people call game winners? Here's David Locke on Isaiah Collier's game winner the other night.
Sensabaugh has the basketball. Jazz down one. Inbound to Collier. Turns the corner. Loose with the ball. Gets to the rim. Lays it up and in. 2.4 to play. Isaiah Collier threw the ball out in front. Ran it down and laid it up, and the Jazz lead by one.
All right.
It was a layup. It was a layup, and he got between the double and got himself to the rim. It was nice. But it's different when it's a hoisted three.
Yeah.
And it's a foul.
Yeah.
The thing with that is, in your mind, you see that thing hit and it goes in the air, but you also saw the immediate whistle. Because that whistle was called while that was still in the air.
Correct, yep.
So in my mind, I would have been like, there's a miss, there's a call, he's at the line for three. I wouldn't be thinking about because it just kept bouncing around.
Yeah, because that's why boy, you hit it right on the head. Because I was like, well, he missed it, and my next words were going to be, there's the whistle, and he's going to shoot free throws. But then I'm seeing it take another bounce. I'm like, well, wait. And that's why I said wait, because I was going to talk about the whistle, and I'm like, whoa, no, wait, yes. So
yeah, see, I would have.
It was a weird call.
I would have missed that.
No good. No, wait, yes, he hit it and he fouled. Oh, another in forever. Whoa.
That reaction to that.
Ian Martinez.
Yeah, that was fun.
I did see some Utah State fans that were like, you gave me a heart attack.
Yeah.
Because people are sitting there and they're listening, and it's like, it's a miss. And you're like, dang it, 5-1. And dang, that was a fun winning streak. But And it's like, wait! You're like, wait for what? It's good!
Martinez, straightaway three. No good.
No, wait, yes! He hit it, and he's fouled! Oh, it hung on the rim forever!
Sucker did.
That was this weird,
took a while
crazy.
to fall. But the way it deflected off the back of the rim, you never see that deflection find its way in.
Nope.
That always comes out.
Yes.
Whether it lifts off the front of the rim or hits off the angle, it always goes out.
Yeah. I would,
and it's like when it came down that after the first hit, when it came down, it's like it hit a soft spot and just kind of
died.
Doink and died.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was English on it that spun or if the rim is a little bit doinky, but it just fell in.
I talked to Ian afterwards on the postgame show, and he said, in his mind, when he saw it take that first bounce, he's like, okay, I got 3 free throws. And you talk about how time slows down. He's like, all right, I know I've been fouled. So in his mind, he was already preparing for shooting 3 free throws. And then he's like, oh, I only have to shoot 1. I mean, even he didn't think it was going to go in. And all those shooters are like, oh, yeah, when it left my hand, I knew it was going in.
What a crazy end. And for Isaiah Collier with the Utah Jazz last night, it was a great game and a great moment. They get the 112-111 overtime win against Brooklyn off of his layup. And there was a point earlier in the game where Collier took a hard foul and came down. It looked like it was face first, like it would have been more of a forehead than it would have been any other part of the head. They took him off the court, and he had to go through concussion protocol. He couldn't even take the and one because he'd hit the basket. He had the and one. I think, was it Sensabaugh that took the and one?
Yeah.
And I didn't think he was going to return.
I didn't either.
And Collier showed some toughness, came back out, and ended up with a career-high night, 23 points. He had 7 rebounds, dished out 7 assists, and he had that game winner.
Yeah, and as you heard from Will Hardy earlier on an update, he hit a couple of threes too, and that's not been part of his game, but if he gets that going, I'm telling you, like there was a reason to be excited about him at draft night. And I think that we're seeing some of that potential there. By the way, in the race for Cooper Flag, the Jazz now have the 5th worst record in the NBA. A logjam. So Washington holding down the fort. They're 6-31. And then you got Charlotte, Toronto, and New Orleans, all with 8. So the Jazz, while they have the 5th worst record, they're still within striking distance of at least getting to the 2nd worst record. I don't think anybody's catching Washington. Washington's going to end up with the worst. But I don't think you want the worst record in the NBA. Because let's be honest, the 1, 2, 3, your odds are still the same. So you just want to be in that top 3.
Well, the Jazz are doing what they can, right?
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Isaiah.
I mean, it's crazy. You were without John Collins last night.
Correct.
What were you missing? Maybe 2 or 3 starters last night. Lowry wasn't on the court.
No, Lowry wasn't there.
So
your starting lineup for the Utah Jazz last night was Colin Sexton, Cody Williams, Isaiah Collier, Drew Eubanks, and Micah Potter. Micah Potter, excuse me. Come on. If I'm Colin out there, I'm like, geez, I need to come up with an injury. What am I doing out here?
And there's no Jordan Clarkson.
No Jordan Clarkson.
They're doing what they can.
Yep.
Problem is, you put this youth together that's trying to prove a point. They're going to drag you to some wins. Brooklyn's not good, but they haven't been as bad through the season as the Jazz.
Yep. And, you got Bryce Sensabaugh, who played 26 minutes last night and had 16 points. Now, not a particularly efficient night, 5 of 13 from the field, but, that's a guy that might get a little bit of run on trade deadline. We talked about acquiring assets. Sensabaugh might be a guy that people are taking a look at. Cody Williams, by the way, continues to play a lot. He didn't have a particularly good night last night, but he's shown some ability over the last stretch of games. So, again, you're seeing things start to come together. He had 13 points against Phoenix in that loss.
Just don't win, man. Stay the course.
Knock it off. All right. All right, 2:47. We'll wrap up this bad boy next. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Joined now by Ken Pomeroy, owner of KenPom.com.
For the Cougars, a lot of hype around the program. A very disappointing loss to Tech the other night at home. What do you think that they need as far as a record in conference to get in?
The Big 12 obviously presents a lot of opportunities for quality wins. That said, the performance on the road to BYU historically in the Big 12 so far has not been great. Their calling card really should be getting wins at home, and that's why, in particular, the Texas Tech game was disappointing. I'd say right now, to answer your question, it's probably 11-9 to feel safe. I mean, I got them projected 10-10. The Big 12 is not as strong as it was last year. Last year, you go 500 in the league, it's a done deal. It's not the case this year, and that loss to Providence in particular is pretty damaging. I'd say the goal probably has to be 11-9, and you might sneak in at 10-10.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Looking for the latest on the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, and Aggies? Yeah, we've got you covered. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the Sports Zone.
All right, wrapping up another edition of the show. Hans and Scotty, this is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hope everybody's having a good Monday out there. Hope you're ready for a little Monday night football tonight. From Glendale, Arizona, it's the Rams and the Vikings. You feel bad for the Rams. Well, I mean, obviously, you feel bad for a lot of people in Southern California right now. But, you've got the Rams playing a playoff game and yet not being able to play at home, having to play this game in Arizona.
Yeah, it's a bad deal, man. These crazy fires, and like everything, has been so politicized and turned into everything except for what it is a complete tragedy.
Yeah. So
many displaced people and so many heartbroken individuals and so many pets displaced and so many people hurt, the damage that's caused. And we're like, well, yeah, but it's displaced the postseason game.
Yeah.
Like that's some kind of tragedy. Stop it.
Yeah.
Guys can fly in. They'll go play in Arizona. They'll be catered to and eat the finest shrimp and cocktail sauce. Don't feel bad for them.
No, I don't feel bad for the players. I feel bad for fans not being able to see their team.
Oh, for sure. And there's people that wait their whole life for this opportunity. Get in a car. What's that drive?
From Arizona to L.A.? I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't made that drive before. I've driven from Vegas to L.A. I don't know what it is from Phoenix.
I think it's less than from Salt Lake City to L.A.
Yeah, because that's about, 6.5, 7?
Salt Lake City to L.A. is about 9.
Oh, is it? Uh-huh. Okay. Because I know Vegas is about halfway, right?
Yep.
So that's about 4.5, 5 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're about 3.5 hours from Vegas, from Salt Lake City.
You and I did it in a day.
Or from L.A. We did what in a day?
We drove to L.A. for a Mountain West, and then I flew home.
Oh, that's right.
But we went out together.
Yeah, I forgot we did that.
And we even stopped in Vegas for an hour or two.
Food.
Oh, yeah, no, for a buffet.
6 hours and 7 minutes.
From Phoenix to L.A.?
From L.A. to Phoenix.
Oh, there you go.
373 miles.
Not that bad.
It's very drivable.
Yep. And,
Do your tickets transfer?
Oh, I bet they do.
Of course, they got to.
Yeah, have to.
And what do you do if you can't make it? They refund the ticket.
I sure hope so. They better. All right, Hans and Scotty, this is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.